Hi, class and parents. I just wanted to, this week is going to be a little different, I think, in that it's sort of going down this really interesting, inspirational road or journey. And I want you to understand that a lot of times, looking into a project or research a specific piece of artwork, maybe it takes you down a journey of like finding about other things. So what I did was I thought, well, we have next week off, and it'll be for Thanksgiving. And I thought, well, what about something maybe based on this iconic Norman Rockwell painting called Freedom from Want? This is a very famous piece of work. And by looking at this, I thought, well, maybe we'll do food or do different things or turkeys. And then I thought, well, I learned by doing research on this piece that this was part of a greater group of work done by Norman Rockwell. And it was inspired by a speech by Franklin Roosevelt in 1941. And it was used, these were images that were later used in a national campaign to raise money for the war effort. And, and which was interesting because at that time, this was January 1941, and Pearl Harbor hadn't hit until almost a year later. So there was this sense that we had to get prepared for what was a coming war with what was going on in the world at the time, as sad as it was. But it was interesting. So I did some research on turkeys and things, and I found this guy. And this is interesting. This is really wild. This is a wild blue turkey. And I just thought the colors were just absolutely amazing. Transitions of colors and details and things. So I thought, well, let's do this. Nice side view. The good form development here. So I thought this will be the subject today. And it's an interesting animal. Again, it's called the wild blue turkey. It's actually found in parts of Mexico, Belize, and Guatemala, basically in Central America. So I thought this was just a fantastic. In fact, look at the eyes. There's so much detail and things going on here. This is just a wonderful subject. So this kind of took me to that part of our project. But then the background, not so exciting. So I thought, well, then look at all the things we've learned up till now. We've learned how to do clouds, okay? And we've learned how to do trees, right? So I thought, well, I'll start to put together a composition. And this, especially if you're in a studio environment, you can start putting together different pieces of scrap. So that's my learning on what the subject is. I pulled out some of the things we did with clouds, the trees we did originally, and this part. And then what I did, I put together a sketch. And this is my composition sketch. So here's my subject, the bird. I put him in the middle, or her, I'm not sure what this is. I'm gonna do a little more of a rectangle my piece of work just to get it long, and I think that might be kind of fun to show more background. And then I'm gonna add, as you see here, so here's my turkey. I put a ground line in up through here, which you don't see in the photograph. See, so I'm kind of adding things to this artistically. So there's my horizon line through the turkey. I'm gonna add trees over here to the left, and these are my my tree scrap that we had earlier in the semester. And then of course I'm gonna put a sky in that is gonna be something like this, and maybe even something a little more Van Gogh-ish. Some really random looking stuff. Not real strong though. I don't want the background, the clouds, the trees, the brush through here to overtake the animal. But I do kind of like this. Do want to have some little distinction of what's going on behind the subject than just what's in the picture here. So collected a few of my scrap pieces, got inspired. Interesting story. Again, didn't know that the Norman Rockwell that scene with the turkey, this scene here, was had quite a piece of history to it. That was fascinating. In fact, the speech by Franklin Roosevelt is a fascinating speech, and it's called the Four Freedoms by Franklin Roosevelt. So recommend looking it up. It's a good read. And so anyway, so that's what we're gonna do. So I've got my composition. So what I'm gonna do, put this to the side here a little bit. And I've got my piece of work. As I said, I wanted a little more of a rectangle piece. So I wanted this in tape because there'll be a full sort of a wash background. Put some tape down. Let's see, my piece of work here. So again, back to the drawing. I'm gonna put the character like right sort of in the middle here. The head somewhere up like in this. Again, animals are circles, so we got a little circle here. There's a big circle. This is its back this way. Its chest area. There's a wing in here. Some of the details of the bird we'll get into a little bit later. The legs kind of get buried in the brush through here, and this long sort of wing out this way. I think this sort of works. So we'll do this. fact, that's a good distance here. Yeah, not necessarily centered, just because I want a little bit of sense this, it's got movement to it in the composition. My sketch, I've got the horizon line sort of coming through, about through here someplace. So we do this, it'll come out the back. So there's our, in fact, I may even bring this up a little bit forward to look a bit like that. Again, I can erase the lines later, so don't feel you have to stick with the original drawing. In fact, I might even just give it a little bit of light right now. There we go. So I think that's a pretty good representation. This will come down through here. And then in the background, I've got my trees back in here. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space for the sky just to go down through these clouds, through the trees. So they go off here. I'm probably gonna do a gradation of green from here to through here like this. And then we're gonna have all these clouds kind of wandering through here and some other plants maybe over here or something. So I think this is gonna be kind of interesting. So let's, so what I thought I'd do first, do the tree first. You don't want to do the tree and sky at the same time because I don't want them to blend. So I want the tree to be a standout, character. And I'll probably do the tree and then do the ground plane first. Then that dries, I'll do the background with the clouds in it. Because I may do a little bit of cloud coming through here. Depends on how often I do, what I do with the trees themselves. So, okay, so I've got my water. Remember, you're going to do lightest lights first. And what I discovered was that I liked mixing the yellow with one of the greens here. In fact, both those greens tend to work. But adding the yellow to it gives it a real olive green kind of look to it. Maybe add a little brown, a little bit of red. Okay, so I get this nice light olive color. Okay, let's see, maybe a little bit brighter. Okay, we'll just go with this. Okay, so again, we're going to put just sort of just some indication of I like this idea of sort of dancing the let's say the brush around a little bit. There we go. Let the light come through. And again, we talked about having the tree trunk. I went ahead and even though I might put brown there for the tree trunk, I'm gonna put a couple lines in here as if it's sort of the edge of a forest or the woods, so to speak. And then I'm coming here with maybe a little bit of a kind of a wash, a little bit. Maybe a little more green in here. And I'm gonna try a little bit of a different technique, as if some of the grass around it were actually white. See that? So I'm not gonna try and so I'm kind of letting the little bit of brown. Kind of a reverse, almost like the grass is even maybe a little bit of like it's negative, or not negative but positive, like it's light. See that? And I'm just gonna come in here like this. So I get this interesting little texture at the bottom. And I'm going to bring up the colors itself up to the bird this way between his legs, like this, a little bit of this, and just outline. There's my horizon through here, which I think is going to be kind of darker, like this. A little bit of some brown. Might even put a little bit of a, go ahead and put in a kind of a little bit of a, maybe a shadow here, just a little bit underneath him. And so I'm trying to blend a little bit of these greens. Oop, maybe a little too much. I think I have kind of these earthier tones with the olive colors. See, I'm dabbing sort of the idea of the shadow. This is the shadow. You don't see all the shadow because you're looking through these stalks of grass stalks. And I'll come back in and probably do that a little bit different. So that's enough water for now. I'm gonna let that sit. And let's see, go back to my tree. That's starting to dry now. And let's see, a little bit of this, maybe a little bit more. Let's see if this kind of works. A little too gray. I think a little more life to it, a little more orange. Again, I said if you drop a little too much water, just pick it up. But I don't want really too dark back here, just a little bit. Perfect. A little too brown. And put a little more green in there. There we go. A little more of the darker version of this. A little bit of this is a nice dark green. Yeah, that'll be kind of put this in here for the trees. It's kind of delicate little lines back in there. A little bit here. Just using the tip of the round brush. Okay, a bit of that. Let's just recede it to the area. I'll probably come back a little more detail here. Just a little more. Okay, that'll be my first session here. There might be 2 or 3 of these, but yeah, let that dry, and then I'll probably put in the clouds next. Okay.